Welcome everyone. I am Chris Gore. How's it going today? Alan and I are still getting set up. How are you doing? It's a Wednesday night. That's right. It's our special edition of the Film Threat Livecast. It's Hollywood on the Rocks. This is where we kind of hang out. We talk about movies. Of course, we're going to talk about movies. A lot to discuss today, including new film from Neon Pleasure. In addition, Alan and I have both seen Top Gun Maverick. I can't wait to give you our initial reactions. So much to talk about. Let's get the show started. I have a little video intro. I'm gonna find it. We're gonna discuss a lot of stuff. We're gonna talk to you in the chat because that's what we do on this show. But let's get things kicked off because we have a lot to celebrate. Here we are. Let's go. Hollywood on the Rocks. Before I bring on my colleague, Alan Ng, I think I'm going to get things started. This is how we like to start the show. That's how we start Hollywood on the Rocks. I'm going to get your own beverage. Happy to see you here on a Wednesday evening. It's happy hour somewhere. It's definitely happy hour here on the West Coast. How's it going, everybody? Hey, I see Flaccid Phoenix there in the chat saying, hail chat. Holy Hand Grenades is here. What's going on? B-roll. That is the correct icon to use. Gabriel is here. Shotgun that beer. Lauren Masters. So have you seen Garland's new film, Men? No, but I have seen the trailer in theaters. It always gets the most interesting reaction because it's this horror trailer. It's very intense. It's the tone is something frightening is about to happen. And then the title comes up, Men. And every time I've seen that trailer, people burst out laughing. It's very funny. Let me introduce Alan here. Alan Ng.
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Good.
Oh, you got your own drink.
Wait, well, I got the diet stuff.
The diet stuff. Well, there you go. Well, let's drink
together. Straight edge life I live.
Here we go. Hey, everybody. So happy to have you here. We have, and Patrick Lemire, I Spy 40K subscribers. That's right.
Yeah.
Now, should we debut the special video about Alan tonight or should we wait until Friday? Let me know in the chat. We crossed 40,000 thanks in no small part to Nerdrotic. Thank you, Nerdrotic. Quarter Black Garrett and Gary Beekler of Nerdrotic kind of plugged the channel today and got us all the way up to 40K. And I promised to show a special video to you of Alan. And so should we do it or should we wait until Friday when we get a lot of folks together? I think we should do it later in the show.
Yeah, we should do it later in the show if we're doing it today.
Yeah. Because we've got people are still filing in. I always notice this when we do stuff on YouTube is you'll get the notification. Sometimes it comes a little bit after the show goes live. So you kind of I'm stalling so that people can get here. We're going to do it tonight. I promise, Gabriel. I promise, Nate D. Goober, Ken Bogus, Alan looking like a snack. There you go. And Gwen Stacy says tonight, yes, we're going to do it because I don't want you to give me the finger as you are in your profile pic. There you go. But we will absolutely see it. We will see that tonight. Turo says my notifications never come fast enough. Oh, that's true. Later's good. The more the merrier. That's right. I agree with you. Proud American. Holy Hand Grenades. Chris, I saw an ad for the movie Men that said it was about the patriarchy. I thought to myself, the downfall of A24 is here. It might be, but A24 was always kind of like,
they've always done stuff like that. I don't know how,
I mean, they also put out.
Is it really commentary on toxic masculinity, or
I don't think? No, it's not. I don't think it is. What's interesting is, and you'll notice it the second time I watched the trailer, I definitely noticed it. The actor who plays the guy in the film plays all of the men in the film, including they use digital enhancement. He plays a younger boy. It's the weirdest, creepiest thing when you see it. It's really bizarre. So there you go. The notifications, that happens. And here you go. HVP says, Alan greater than Chris. Just kidding. You know what? Hey, we're all equals here. We're all equals here. I hope Alan didn't take his family to see Pleasure.
Oh no. Oh no, I didn't. Although I saw it at home during Sundance, and it was actually last year's Sundance.
Right.
And that's when you gotta like keep the door locked so the kid doesn't actually walk in on you.
Right, right. Well, let's see. We'll get through some of these comments here and we'll get the show started as more people file in. Jeff Brooks, Chris, love your takes on Neurotic. Wish you would do some takes here.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but like I try to keep it focused here on film and independent film. Occasionally, if a movie kind of like, brings up a topic that I can is like a jumping off point to discuss an issue, we'll discuss it. But we'll get into it. And I appreciate that, Jeff, and appreciate you being here. Got my Top Gun Tuesday tickets. Got to stay ahead of the spoilers. We will not be discussing spoilers at all. In fact, we're going to discuss it in more detail on Friday. No spoilers at all. Tonight, we're just going to talk about our first impressions. Just the general reaction to the movie. And I believe I discussed a little bit of that on Neurotic today.
I think we'll talk a lot about the original, which I mean, this is a sequel in every true sense.
And Sammy says, I watched Pleasure. I give it 2 wieners out of 5. Well, that is a scale. That's one scale you could use.
I think that was a scene in the movie too.
Oh my God. Ronan Medic 76 says, hey, saw you on the Nooner today. I'm a former Marine and need to know, is Top Gun 2 as homoerotic as the original? I really need it to be. There is some of that, but it's also like, it's sort of like how you see it. Like it's certainly, you can look at it that way or you can not look at it that way.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah,
there's a lot of testosterone flowing in that movie.
There is so much testosterone, and we're going to discuss it. But I want to get through some of your chats and say hi to everybody. Gwen Stacy also with hey, Chris Gore, would you rather spend a day with Amber Turd? Would you rather watch the Phase 4 Marvel movies on loop 24 hours? I'm going to go Amber. Amber, which is basically like meeting Wanda in real life. I kind of feel like a little bit. It's a
Amber had superpowers.
Oh my God, what are we doing? But yeah, so Pleasure, and you can look up the trailer for this. It's on the A24 YouTube channel. So look up Pleasure trailer. All Twisted Up says Pleasure sounds like a movie we could take our grandparents to. Is that correct?
Depends on your grandparents.
Are your grandparents like swingers and into porn? Maybe, but I would probably just say my advice is no. That is a hard no on that.
I mean, we are at that age where our grandparents could be swingers and could have starred in porns.
Well, Alan, we're just going to leave it at that. TJ Spillane says, Chris just watched your appearance on Flashcast. That was kind of frustrating. By the way, I want to explain context to that. I went and saw the Canelo fight. Okay. I have followed his career. Canelo lost the fight and maybe had a little too much to drink there. Came home. I also had chicken wings. I came home and I was just like, whatever. And Flash has been like trying to get me on the show, and I'll watch it. I'll kind of keep it on in the background while I'm doing stuff. And I like the stuff that they talk about on that show is crazy. So he invited me on and I joined, and I probably said some things I regret. I'm normally not that aggressive, but I found it very frustrating. And TJ Spillane says, Chris, just watch your appearance on Flashcast. I have a friend who sounds exactly like Lofty. It's some type of weird Stockholm syndrome that Disney has placed on some fans. Truly unsettling. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just, when it comes to Disney stuff, I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm mixed about it. Alan, how do you feel? Because you actually live really close to Disney.
Yeah. It's weird. I just have no desire to go back to the park at this time. I mean, I used to go to the park. I had annual passes for at least 10 years. And we were planning a trip during COVID to go to Disney World. And we're like, is it really worth it anymore? Although that new Guardians of the Galaxy ride looks pretty good. It's just the money, the upgrades, the add-ons you have to do. And then the Disney films, you know, I fear for the direction the company's headed, and I know we've talked ad nauseum about that.
I fear for people who own the stock. That's
Yeah.
I gotta see if I'm trying to center myself here. I had to break my setup down to shoot some segments for award this. I want to let you guys know. And oh, wait, here we go. It's a couple quick comments here before we do that. Chris Drunk texted me. Awesome. No, I definitely did. That's hilarious. That's fine, says Uranus Adventure. Flashcast is always a dumpster fire, and it's great.
Is that Yellow Flash? Is that who we're talking about?
Yeah, Yellow Flash. Holy Hangry's Flashcast always devolves into pure hilarity. I agree. Miss Malevolent says, heard you on Nooner as a Detroiter. I remember Orbit too. I used to read it all the time. I missed those publications. Yeah, Orbit. There was Fun Magazine, the Metro Times. I always loved, like, every city kind of has its own like alternative press newspaper, and I believe that those newspapers have failed us. If anything, those newspapers should have been asking a lot of questions about things that have happened over the last couple of years. I really wish they had done that. I really wish whenever I see like Gavin Newsom on TV, I'm like, ask the question, because that guy, I feel like, you know, you can talk all you want about maybe how Gavin Newsom may have failed, but I think what really failed was the media keeping politicians accountable and asking questions. So Miss Malevolent also says, congratulations on 40,000, Chris. Thank you. And Miss Malevolent, on point with the comments, says, y'all need to like the stream. That's right. You all need to like the stream, and you need to slap that like button. Slap it. Let's everybody get into a slapping mode. Oh, wow. And subscribe to the channel. And you know what? You subscribe to the channel, the more people that subscribe. Let's get to 40,000. Let's go to 41,000. Finish him. Oh, my jeans. You might see some embarrassing moments like that, but even better, we're going to get plugs out of the way so we can get right to the content, right to the conversation. First of all, support us and buy something. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. You can get a snazzy Film Threat t-shirt like this one. You can get a mug. We have all kinds of merch in the Film Threat shop. So check that out. Follow us on the socials. And that was a different promotion that we did. We're not going to do that one, but also you can contact us for any reason. Go to filmthreat.com/contact. And when you're watching Hollywood on the Rocks, take a shot when anyone talks about movies, which is going to be kind of all the time. Subscribe to I'm going through all these really quick. Subscribe to our Film Threat email newsletter for alerts and updates. Filmthreat.com/newsletter. And I like to give away free stuff. So send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB, that stands for Private Mailbox, 1500 Los Angeles, California, 90036. I will send back to you free stuff. We've got buttons, we've got stickers. And if you get one of those stickers, here's what's really cool. If you get one of those stickers, you could make a video like this and be featured on the channel. Check this out. The smooth, cool taste of a great film threat. I love it. Perfect. Tastes so film thready. Okay, that one was dumb. Don't make one like that. If you really want production value, here, something like this.
These movie reviews are delicious. Film Threat sucks.
How about this one?
These movie reviews are delicious.
Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna end it. This is gonna be the end of the plugs. We're gonna get right to our chat here. Might be one of my favorite ones. This was done at Phoenix Comic-Con. I have some friends that are gonna be at Phoenix Comic-Con soon. I unfortunately will not be there. But if you send us that self-addressed stamped envelope, I'll send you back some stickers and make one of these videos, and we'll feature it on the channel.
Holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
So I want to send you free stuff. You want to be featured on the channel. Why not make a video like that? So I realize it's ridiculous, folks. I realize this is ridiculous. And it is. So there you go. Wait, all right. Everybody smash that like button. Thank you, Flaccid Phoenix, new member of the team. And also go to Flaccid Phoenix's channel. He has an amazing channel. Subscribe to it now. Jeff Brooks says, release the troll, Gore. Yeah, that's me. Excited to hear about Top Gun. Can't wait to see it in Dolby with my brother, says TJ Spillane.
Yeah, we saw it in Dolby.
Oh, my jeans. Yeah, that was, yeah. And H3P says, yes, Chris does his own stunts. And it occurred to me, says Patrick Lemire, that Multiverse of Madness stands for mom. There you go. Gwen Stacy, another question. Hey, Chris and Alan, what's your favorite movie genre? And from that, what film inspired you into wanting to critique movies? It's easy for me. Science fiction. Science fiction is probably my favorite genre because it's a gateway into conversations about things that are happening where you can talk about it in a way that's in the realm of fantasy. Alan, what about yourself?
Yeah, mine's the dead genre right now. It's comedy. I was always a huge fan of comedic films, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Airplane, and you know, we have yet to really talk about a comedy on the stream, and it frustrates me because there's none real coming up. This, you know, Lost City, Marry Me. Those are the only comedies we've talked about. Yeah, it's there really haven't been any good comedies, and I agree with Gary at Nerdrotic. I think that if some comedy came out that was incredibly raunchy, incredibly offensive to everyone, wherever you stand politically, offend both sides. Who cares? That's what great comedies used to do. And sometimes they make you think. Sometimes it gives you food for thought, but it doesn't have to do that. It can just be funny. And I feel like that is a dead genre. I guess the closest thing maybe we got to it was Lost City. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's all indie. I mean, all the really great comedies so far. Donnie's Bar Mitzvah for one, indie comedy, and that's the only way you're going to see these things, especially going raunchy. That raunchy.
Well, Gabriel says Chris is improving at this whole streaming business. Soon we'll have no technical problems at all. I promise you, at least one technical problem per stream. So there you go. And TJ Spillane says, Alan and Chris, have you guys seen the trailer for Crimes of the Future? Cronenberg is back. Also, have you seen his son's film Possessor? I have seen his son's film Possessor. I find it very disturbing. I find that film really disturbing. I mean, we've reviewed it on the website.
Yeah.
It's Crimes of the Future. I saw the trailer. Very excited. It's Cronenberg back to body horror, which I think is where he really excels. I mean, The Fly, probably my favorite Cronenberg movie is The Fly, because I think it's the most accessible, but it's also like incredibly dark. And I've read whole interviews where he talks about actually the science behind that and how it works, a teleporter. And it's my favorite Cronenberg movie. It has a great score. Jeff Goldblum's amazing in it. And it's a body horror film as well.
Yeah, so, which means I may not be seeing it.
Yeah.
I know. Horror is just not my bag.
Yeah. There you go. But let's get into it. I think we should let's actually start with Top Gun. Let me get. I got our banners up here. I pre-made some banners. This is not a review of Top Gun. This is our initial reaction to the movie. I talked about it earlier today on Nerdrotic. I'll expand on those thoughts. But Alan, initial reaction to Top Gun. You and I were in the same screening together. We were very fortunate to get to see it yesterday. I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, you know, it starts. It's basically the first film, and if I'm a huge fan of that first film, and all the feels just came back for this one. I think the thing that stood out to me the most was the fact that this is a practical film. There's very little CG. Very little CG that really matters in terms of the stunts, the actions. You know, the dialogue, you know, it's just as good as the first one. But it's this fighter action. I would say it's also a true sequel. You know, it gives us what we wanted from the beginning, from the first film, and then adds more to it. You know, the mission that happens is very different than the first one. You have a whole bunch of characters. The one thing I will say is when a movie talks about diversity, it always means Black and Hispanic, Black and Latinx. It rarely means Asian, and this movie proves that. There's one Asian. She appears for maybe 10 seconds, and then you never see another Asian in the movie again. But other than that, I love this movie. If you're a fan of the original Top Gun, you're going to love this movie.
Well, I'm with you, Alan, and it's not nostalgia bait. I mean, there is in terms of, like, say, the score. The music is very similar. It's basically, you know, an improved version of the original score.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to your chat comments about Top Gun. I freaking love this movie. I love this movie. One, we got to see it in the Dolby Digital Theater, which strongly recommend. Do not see this in a traditional theater. Your two choices are Dolby Digital, IMAX. That is the only way to see this film. Recommend IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
Because the sound is all encompassing. It's just like, it's the seat shaking. There are moments where they kind of save the sound to, like, just, you know, blow your ears in all the best ways, right? And shake your seat. So, and it's Tom. I've always been a fan of Tom Cruise. I know he gets kind of a bad rap for, you know, being
the
kind
Scientology stuff.
Right. I don't care. He's not telling me to sign up for it. He's not preaching at me about it. And I just think he's someone who really cares about the craft and he's one of those actors that understands the craft of filmmaking. He understands what audiences want to see when they see a movie. They want to see a human story. That's the one thing about this. Yes, we could focus on the military aspect, the tech, the dog fights. We'll get to that. And there are no spoilers in this. We're being very, very, very brief on this, but it's a human story at the end. It really becomes this human story of this sort of older, maybe washed up character of Maverick. And he's brought in to teach, this is all from the trailer, to teach this new crew of Top Guns, the elites, the elite pilots, and take them on a mission. That's all you need to know. But that's not what the story is really about. The story is more of a human story that I thought was, God, I don't know. Like, I got choked up a couple times. I did not expect that. Did you feel that way, Alan?
You know, honestly, the dialogue and the story, it's pretty typical of an 80s action film. And so, no, I didn't get as choked up about it, but it, you know.
Well, let me answer a question before you ask it.
Okay. Because
if I told you that there were characters that had call signs that were their pronouns, or there was all sorts of, like, there's like a female character that kind of schools Tom Cruise and gets the best of him. None of that is in it. It is completely not a woke film at all. There's nothing about it that's woke, to the point where it feels like this movie was made in a bubble from 15 years ago. Like, it really feels that way. It's just fun. It's action packed. It's characters you meet and grow to care about. And you see them evolve and grow and go through challenges. And I just I'm over the moon about it, because it's just the kind of movie they don't make anymore. That's sort of the big thing that struck me is, like, how come there's not 5 movies that are like this coming out? And we can talk about, you know, which ones are better, the virtues and whatnot. It's also, it's not over the top in terms of its patriotism, but it is a patriotic movie. Mm-hmm. Like the original, the quote enemy is very vague. It's very vague. Someone mentioned
it is very undefined.
We'll get to the chat, I promise. But it's the enemy is vague. There's not any, like, who who the villain really is. It's kind of kept generic, and I think that's just because of international release. But seeing this on the big screen in the Dolby Digital, with that like just thunderous sound is fantastic. Now the dog fights, like we've never seen in a movie of this type. You've seen dog fights like this maybe in science fiction. I don't think we've ever seen a dog fight like this necessarily in a modern day setting. They talk about these there are these 5th generation fighters that they have to confront, and they're just like they're deadly. And it's just interesting to see how they're using it. Now the director is the same director who did Tron Legacy, and that guy, I think this movie speaks to his strengths, which is all very technical. And most of and there's actually a behind the scenes documentary about how they did the dog fights and whatnot, and it's all real. It's all real stuff. I mean, there's enhancement. There always is. There's always like with things like, I have to get my Star Wars reference in, with things like BB-8, right? There's like removal and things like that, but this is all real. It's the enhancements.
The things that are enhanced have nothing to do with the dogfights, with the action of the movie, which is a good sign. I'll say Christopher McQuarrie is all over this thing as well. That partnership between him and Tom Cruise, you just feel it here as well.
Well, I don't want to give up any spoilers. People are asking spoilerish questions. We really shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's there's really good surprises and callbacks to the original movie. There is a very homoerotic scene on the beach, which read into it what you will. You know what I see? I see a bunch of guys that are friends. I see a bunch of men, hanging out on the beach, playing games, a little horseplay, and having a good time together, and being men and building a team. That's what I see as team building. And then
grabbing each other.
And some people take it a little bit further in their head and they imagine a gay porn. And that's just not, that's not where my head goes. And it's fine. Imagine what you will. But it's also about friendship and redemption, and at its heart, it's a human story. And I did not expect that. There are things about it that are cheesy, but I'm like,
the dialogue.
The dialogue's cheesy. The dialogue
is so cheesy.
But not in a bad way. Not in a bad way at all. It's sort of like these are the kind of movies that make us smile. And like, I had to in the middle of the movie. There was a weird thing that happened. Should I tell what happened, Alan?
Sure.
Okay.
As long as it doesn't spoil, yeah.
We went to the screening. We thought they were going to be like the refreshments weren't open, and everyone assumed like, oh, we can just take it. It's free. And then the manager of the theater came out. It's not free. You can't take that stuff. It was hilarious.
I know. He came into the theater, and I know he was looking at you.
Oh man, they're looking at everybody like, how'd you get that drink cup? It's like, I don't know. No one told us, and someone said it was free. Anyways, I went back and I purchased a popcorn, and I got the free refill, which I gave to Alan, because this was a movie you want to enjoy with popcorn, right? Like it's a popcorn movie. So yeah, it's God, and already like, look, we'll talk about it in more detail. It's soon, but this is a popcorn movie. This is why you go to see a movie on a big screen. You have to see this on a big screen, and the biggest screen possible with the best sound. So really be selective about the theater you choose to see this movie in, and cannot recommend this enough. Hey, oh no, is this really Yellow Flash? Send Lofty the link. No, we're not doing that, Yellow Flash. It's not happening. It's not happening. I predict Lofty will not like this movie. Is not going to like this film. But thank you for dropping in, Yellow Flash. Always a pleasure to chat with you when I'm less drunk than I was on Saturday. But yeah, this movie is just fantastic. And I don't know what else to say. Anything else I would say would probably ruin it.
Yeah, I will say, if you enjoyed the dogfights in the first movie, it's just upgraded. And again, the beauty is untainted by computer graphics.
Right.
They're in the jets. They're doing these stunts. You know,
there were moments. Okay,
how are there no accidents on this set?
Yeah,
In the air.
I don't want. Yeah, I'm trying to think how to say this.
Yeah.
There were moments I had to just like, it's so intense. We're talking about dogfight scenes. It's so intense. And they're in the like cockpits and you're seeing like this back and forth and you're seeing like the intensity because you know the stakes. And I'm just looking and everyone in the theater is like leaned in like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Like there's that kind of moment. So I don't want to build it up too much. I just don't want to like, I just get your tickets. There's a
lower your expectations too.
Yes, lower your expectations. No, there's a thing called Top Gun Tuesday. They're screening it the Tuesday before it opens. And I think usually at screenings like that, you get something like a poster or whatever. So strongly recommend that you get it, that you get into that early screening and there you go. I don't know. Let's get to the wait. Can you star some of these other? I'm going to go through the chats, Alan. Thanks for doing that real quick. And I'm going to go through your comments here. Jeff Brooks asks, here's my question. Does the volleyball scene get copied from Sonic 2, which originally copied Top Gun 1? Kind of. There is a scene of camaraderie. Let's just say that. And there's
a sport involved in that as well.
Yes, there's callbacks to that stuff. But it's just organic. Goober, no ice person? I can't say.
Yeah.
Can't say. Don't want to say. Adrian Calleros, did I say that right? Apologies in advance for every mispronunciation tonight, because there will be some. Adrian Calleros says, what kind of mindset should I head into watching this film with, especially as someone who doesn't really like the first film and also does not like Miles Teller? I mean, if you don't, first of all, I was not a super fan of the first film. I was just like, oh, okay, that was fun. I think that this tops that first film. And if you don't like Miles Teller, I mean, I don't know. If you don't like him, I can't really help you there. I don't. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't.
He is Miles Teller in the movie.
No, I like his mustache, but he's not Mr. Fantastic.
But if you don't like him, I mean, he doesn't do anything really to elevate his stature. He's good in it. But the plot that he's involved in, I mean, I could write that one
down. You can't.
I'm not going to say anything, but there's going to be zero surprises with his storyline.
Holy Hand Grenade says they bent the knee to CCP with this movie by removing the Taiwan and Japan patches from Maverick's bomber jacket. It's BS. I can't really respond to that. You know, like, I agree with you. My guess is that was done to, that was done specifically to appease the international release. I feel like all the studios are doing it now, right? Just
China. I'm sorry.
The US market alone is not enough for a movie of this scale. Now, is it, for a movie like Pleasure, it's fine, right? It's fine for a movie like that. It's a smaller market. But I agree that it's BS and you should see the movie. There you go. D's Nuts 1001. Did you all see the new trailer for Avatar? Thoughts? Can they be better than the original, which is very meh? I think we talked about it last week.
I finally saw it. I finally saw the trailer.
What are your thoughts?
Meh. I've not seen the first one. And there's nothing really. I don't know what it is about is it the Na'vi?
Yeah.
I'm just not excited about that design, and it doesn't really do anything for me. And seeing that a lot of that, I'm basically going to see it because I have to see it. That's pretty much.
I think. Well, here's what I think. The trailer for Avatar, when it hit Monday, got about almost 150 million views on day one. Okay, now it was heavily advertised on YouTube, but 150 million views is more views than The Rise of Skywalker got, and it got it on day one. Okay. That's huge. I do think that your average moviegoer who wants spectacle and a simple story is going to love it. Don't count Cameron out.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a huge hit. Will you love it? Your mileage may vary. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it's going to be a huge hit. I think it's a rehash of the original, or though it looks like that, because it's really just a series of scenes. It's, you see You know, the Na'vi are there. Jake Sully is now older. There's some feral child that's now part of their group that has a mask on. There's some new settlement. Maybe they're more working closely with the Na'vi. There's obviously some big battle that's taking place. A lot of the movie takes place underwater. It seems like a rehash of the original to kind of like ease you in. And yeah, but I think that the reason that the original movie didn't really leave much of a cultural footprint is that it's kind of one story that's self-contained. It's the end of it's and that's it. It's the story, it's done. Move on. It didn't really set itself up for any sequels. I don't know that you really need one, but James Cameron thinks we need 4. Chat questions here. Guagnar. I always think of Gore when I'm seeing that name. So you're saying it is better than Iron Eagle 2? Top Gun Maverick is better than Iron Eagle 2. That I can say confidently. Ronan Medic 76 says, field fun. One spoiler, please. Do they play Danger Zone at least once while F-18s are flying?
Well, is that a spoiler?
Yeah, they play music like that. Yeah. Dangers, like all that. Like all this stuff, like it's just like, it's corny and you're like, oh my God, I'm taken back to a place where movies were fun. Like,
and they do it right from the start. I mean,
they don't waste any time.
Right from the beginning, it's Top Gun, and then they bring you into the world right away.
Turo says, Chris, I actually used to build the new fighters you're allowed to see now. I'll be able to tell what's real. I know things. Turo, can't wait to hear that conversation. Please, at some point, we're going to meet up.
Yeah, I think we actually sat next to someone who is very familiar with those jets as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear what people in the military have to say about the accuracy of this. I think that a lot of the computer graphics that they show in the film are a little like they're for the audience.
I think for enhancement. The graphics are there for enhancement.
No, there are computer graphics that kind of show like, you know, representations of missions.
Oh yeah.
Let's just say that those graphics are that's for the audience. That's for the audience, so the audience understands what's going on.
Yeah.
But Turo, yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. Gabriel, any danger zones in the movie? Yes, there are. Holy hand grenades. No Taiwan patch, though. So lame.
Yeah.
How were the dog fights?
Yeah.
I think we talked about that. Like, they're like edge of your seat. Like, yeah, it's not just.
You're holding your breath. I was holding my breath at times.
Yeah. And Patrick Lemire, Holy Hand Grenades, it's not just nostalgia bait. Yes, there is nostalgia, but it doesn't feel as pandering, right? It's actually part of the story. Patrick Lemire, Chris was having a goregasm over TG2. Yeah, I actually think we need to make, we need to make like a goregasm, like there's actually a movie called Goregasm, believe it or not. That exists. Look it up on IMDb.
Does that explain the funny taste of my popcorn? Or...
No. Yeah, maybe we need to do some video every time that's mentioned. Jeff Brooks, also, Chris, the chat is always a 10 to 15 second delay from real time. So if you ask a question and wait for the chat, we haven't heard it yet. Okay, I'll keep that in mind, Jeff. Thank you. See, we're still having technical difficulties.
And I think some people are a couple minutes behind as well. So,
Yeah, Patrick Lemire, Brad Bird, and John Lasseter are working on a noir animated film. That must be
they're over at Skydance now.
Yeah, we need an A24 of comedy. That makes a lot of sense. That's awesome. Holy hand grenades. If you go into Avatar seeking story, you're going to have a bad time. Ha! It's just eye candy. Nothing wrong with that. No, it's a very simple story. It's really the story. It's Dune is what it is. Avatar is Dune. It's Dances with Wolves. It's Pocahontas. It's Fern Gully. It's an outsider and, infiltrates a primitive culture or so-called primitive culture, integrates and becomes part of the primitive culture's society. And the outsiders, the evil outsiders in Avatar, it's humans from Earth. In Dune, it's the Harkonnens. And because, Paul Atreides, he becomes part of the Fremen. He's wearing a still suit. He learns to appreciate their culture. He rides a sandworm. And the Harkonnens, who are mining the spice, he pushes. It's the same story. Dances with Wolves, same thing, right? It's the same story. So there you
I
go.
mean, I'll tell you why I never watched the first one. The impression
Why?
I always got was that it was an environmental lecture, and that just kind of turned me off at that time.
A little bit, yeah. And I feel like the new Avatar is going to do the same thing. Patrick Lemire's son asked me to take him to Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. And I fell between Alan and Chris. It was a mess, but I did not hate it as much as I expected. My son made me laugh, calling her Red Karen, looking for manager of the universe. Okay, Patrick, your son's pretty cool. I got to say, that is the greatest comment ever. She's Red Karen. Yeah, here's the thing about that movie. Yeah, you can have fun, I think, watching it. But for me, everything kind of fell apart. The more you think about the movie, the less I enjoyed it. That's just me. Holy Hand Grenades asks a very good question. Does RRR placate to China? They don't like them. And they still make kick-ass movies with international success. Hollywood is just gay for China. I'm just reading the comments, folks. Hollywood is just gay for China, even though China has been denying them lately. Yeah. Yeah, like it's like America is texting China saying, hit me up. Or you up? That's America right now. But RRR is great. I wish more people had seen it. I have recommended that movie to so many people, and it really, I don't know. I really wish more people had seen it. Cam on the internet. I'm sure I say that. I'm sure there's something there. There's a joke there. What is the secret sauce that separates this from other nostalgia-filled panderfests like Force Awakens? What separates, this is a very good question, by the way. What separates Top Gun Maverick from Force Awakens? And I'll tell you this, it's the characters, because it's a character story. And because, are you going to make Top Gun Maverick and then not put Tom Cruise in the movie, or only have him be a side character to all the new characters? That's not what this is. That's not what this is. And while it does have nostalgia for the original, it also improves on the original and is a logical character arc for Maverick. Or I always forget these Captain Pete Mitchell or something.
Yeah, Pete Mitchell.
Mitchell.
I know it's Mitchell. Yeah,
yeah.
I think Tom Cruise is the key here. I think he is the keeper of the franchise at this point, and I think he had a great deal of influence in terms of the tone and the feel of the movie. I don't, he's actively involved in the final product,
right?
And I think that's why it works.
I think it shows, and also like nobody puts Tom Cruise in the corner. Mm-hmm. And I feel like with The Force Awakens, which I think is the movie that basically that's the
handover, yeah.
I think it was from the opening crawl. I'm like, okay, and the fact that it didn't focus on the sequel trilogy or the original trilogy characters, it was a way to introduce all these new elements. I think was a huge mistake, not reuniting Han, Luke, and Leia. We've talked about this ad infinitum. I don't want to.
43 minutes, by the way.
There are a lot of videos on the channel. You can look up on our Film Threat YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos that you can look up.
You can look up every live cast we've done.
Yeah, or just every live stream we've done. And you'll see somehow I'll talk about Star Wars, but it's probably the greatest mistake in cinema history was not focusing at least the very first film on Han, Luke, and Leia, reuniting them, and then kind of like fading them into the background of some new characters, which I'm totally cool with. And I don't dislike some of those characters, the new characters that were introduced, but like, you got to pay tribute. You got to like honor the legacy. And that's what this movie does really well. I'm going through all these comments that you've starred, Alan. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Charles K. Avatar honestly would have been far more interesting if they focused more on the humans. I feel like it's really interesting, that world. And there's like a longer cut not a longer cut. There's like a longer opening that kind of shows you Earth. Check out the extras on the Blu-ray. And Joshua Levesque. Did I get it right? It's the Stanley Cup playoffs now. So I'm boning up on my French pronunciations of hockey players. Joshua Levesque says, am I the only one here who recorded the Avatar 2 trailer in a theater because it didn't release online right away? Lol. You're the only one. But there you go. That's great. I would love to see. You know what I want to do? I want to download it at 56K and have it take 4 hours. Just to like take us back to that time when everyone was watching The Force Awakens. The Phantom Menace trailer, like there was that I must have watched that video 50 times. There you go. Experts agree James Cameron should make an Aquaman movie with Vincent Chase. That would be awesome. Oh my God. Bring back Entourage. Okay. Wait, back to more new comments here. Any word on Firestarter, says Toxic Waltz N8. Good to see you here, sir. Sir Andor. I don't know. Maybe I got it wrong. Correct me. Any word on Firestarter? I'm sure it's awful, but I haven't heard anything. Looking forward to John Carpenter's score, though. I'm seeing it on Thursday. We'll talk about it on Friday. Okay. Alan, you're seeing it, right? Or no?
I might be seeing the Christina Ricci one.
Okay. Well, you see that one. I'll go to Firestarter.
You know, I mean, I for me, Firestarter, it doesn't feel like it.
The trailer looks terrible.
Exciting at all.
It looks terrible. Gabriel, hey, it's fine, Chris. You can allocate 10 to 20 minutes of Star Wars ranting per stream. What we should do is every time I start to rant about Star Wars, we should show a countdown clock. We should show like a countdown clock. So there you go. So it still feels like a Don Simpson movie, says Patrick Lemire. Yeah, but in a good way. In a good way. Come on.
Wasn't that his last film too? Or
what's that?
Wasn't the first one his last one? Or
I think so. Derail Gaming says, but the important part, are there Kenny Loggins songs? You'll see. Joshua Levesque, where would you guys rank Doctor Strange 2 with other MCU movies? For me, kind of mid to low. If we had to rank them, we've never done a ranking. We should do that one day.
Yeah, I'd go mid to high. You know, I think about it a lot, and I feel like Doctor Strange, it's got that Guardians of the Galaxy tone to it, where it's very light, and I think that's part of the reason why people are not liking it as much, because you know the original MCU films, very dark, a very serious tone to them. Right. Gravitas, a lot of gravitas given to the OG characters. Doctor Strange is, you know, there's a lot of ball busting in Doctor Strange too between him and Wong. And that's just the tone you get throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. Patrick Lemire, Disney would have made Maverick old and broken down. Nope. I mean, I'll just say this without saying anything. Pete Mitchell, Captain Pete Mitchell, Maverick is a fucking badass. He's a fucking badass and a no bullshit teacher and mentor. And he's like how maybe I would have liked to have seen Luke portrayed in the Star Wars sequels, more like Maverick. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Yeah,
I mean, there's a good status shift there from the original Top Gun, where he's the student trying to, you know, here he's the mentor, and I like that difference and that dynamic that occurs there, because there still is that element of you know, of the Maverick, so to speak, in this movie.
I'm going to run through these comments. Thank you. We have 108 people watching now. Thank you for watching. We're building this Film Threat channel. We just crossed 40,000 subs today, which means everyone here gets a treat, which is a video I worked on about Alan for a long time. Chris has the need for speed, says Solomon Thornton. Chasu Safa says, many of the active military at the time hated the movie when the first Top Gun came out. However, many future pilots joined because of it. Also, Patrick Lemire, also, it's really expensive to run real jets. Holy hand grenades. It is, Alan. You're right. No idea what you're referring to there, but
oh no, about Avatar being a
that's yeah. Solomon Thornton says, makes sense. Lucas was also inspired by Dune and the King Arthur legend. Mm-hmm. Yes, and this is interesting comment. Son of the Red Fox, Alan. It was an environmental lecture. Yeah, Avatar. I agree. DJ Weedman says the F-18s were introduced to the fleet around the time Top Gun came out, just as they were starting to retire the F-14s that Cruise and Company flew in that film. And Toxic Waltz N8 says, RRR played at a theater near me for a few days, but I hadn't heard any of the buzz before I had a chance to see it. Oh, bummer. You need to see RRR in a theater.
Yeah. It's in some. They're dwindling. I have a theater near me that's still showing it.
All right, I might have to go back and see it. Turo, I love how Alan manhandles the air while he speaks. And Flaccid Phoenix says, could they make a Top Gun 3 based on the ending? Can't say.
Yeah.
We cannot say. No.
There's some plot points there.
Really.
Yeah.
There's we're not gonna say. Just you need to see it. You need to see it. Spider Geronimo, hey, welcome back. Avatar portrays most humans as a-holes or idiots. Not great writing. I don't think James Cameron's known for his writing, but he's definitely known for spectacle. And I do think he's really good at telling a simple story that is a very broad appeal. And I feel like we need more movies like that. Toxic Waltz N8 says, Avatar rules. I don't care what anyone else thinks. Probably watch it once a year. And I'm looking forward to the return. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't know that the effects necessarily hold up. I think it was very new technology. I think that the new film is going to eclipse that. And I'm interested. Never, ever count James fucking Cameron out ever. You just cannot do that.
Yeah. The first one's invariably going to come to the theater, and I'm waiting for that to finally see it for the first time.
Yeah, and then Jack D. Ripper says nothing will beat Twin Peaks: The Return as far as resurrecting an existing IP. Yeah, that, and I'll tell you exactly which episode. Episode 8. And episode 8 of the original series of Twin Peaks is also a very weird episode where they have all the sort of backwards talking and moving. And episode 8 of Twin Peaks: The Return has many similar elements. Like those were the episodes where I just look at it, I go, this isn't television, this is art. It's fantastic. And Script Doctor's here. Agreed. Never bet against James Cameron. Thank you, Script Doctor. One day we got to get Script Doctor on the show. So Snowy Taco, love the name. With ticket prices on the rise, I wouldn't be surprised. $1 billion worldwide opening for Avatar 2. I would agree. And I also think that, though, the best thing is just get one of these. It seems like every theater is now doing these deals where you pay like $20 a month and you get like, or 20 or 25, and you can see like 3 movies a week. And Alan and I talk about that all the time. It's like, it's kind of a bargain for someone who's a movie addict like myself. So there you go.
Yeah. I don't know how AMC and Regal aren't advertising with us.
There you go. Patrick Lemire. James Cameron was involved in the last Terminator. I'm starting the count. Yeah, I think peripherally, like his name, I don't think he's to blame necessarily for why that film turned out so poorly. So there you go.
I think he's just interested in other things, that maybe he's told his Terminator story and he's moved on. Since he doesn't, does he technically own it? I don't think so.
I got the Toxic Waltz N8. I got the Norovirus the night Twin Peaks returned. Very strange evening. Both ends blowing out. Plus my mind breaking watching the return. Okay, that might be the best way to watch Twin Peaks: The Return. Is when have you ever gotten like where you're like sick and you're kind of delirious? I love to watch weird movies like Attack of the Mushroom People, which is a Toho production, or something like War of the Gargantuas, which is one of my all-time favorite Toho movies that no one knows about. And the American version of that movie is they were the Gargantuas, but they're actually mutant Supermen. Frankenstein monsters. Why did I say Superman? I don't know. I think it's because I saw Alan with Superman.
Yeah, you saw the clip. You saw
I saw the comment.
I know. Then I'm playing with my hair here.
We're gonna take a break from the chat for a moment, and we're gonna talk more Top Gun later when we can actually talk about stuff. I don't think that we want to ruin anything now, so we're gonna switch from that to watching some weird videos. The first one, before we get to Alan's video, and it's mainly because I have to go to the bathroom real quick. Just so people know, and I'm sure I've told this story before, or you heard it on another stream. I have one kidney. I was born that way. It's very rare. So I'm a mutant, which also means I urinate 3 times more than the average person. So it's really difficult for me to see like a movie, and I have to choose my bathroom breaks. There's a very cool app called Run Pee that tells you kind of the best time to go pee during a movie. I do use that app, and I have to pee right now. So I'm just going to show you a video. If you like my Star Wars rants, you're going to love this rant. I had just seen a movie. Guess what movie it is? And maybe you saw this before. It's a movie I saw. I was so angry about it. I started ranting like right outside, and we recorded it for a podcast. But check this out. they say write what you know, and this person obviously just is
Well, there's like
team
5
of writers
Yeah,
are really on their fucking phones a lot, which is why this generation of writers fucking sucks balls.
They knew puerile games.
What? I'm angry. What?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I know that they did a lot of meetings and a lot of energy went into this, and everyone should be fucking ashamed who worked on this film. You could have actually done something that matters. There's no reason for you to have made this movie. You wasted so much fucking time. And no, I'm angry because this is what we get now, and I know how it's such bullshit. And the fact that like everything, looking at the computer, we're doing this, we're looking at our cell phones throughout the movie, it was ridiculous, which is why that got the biggest laugh. It's because it called out the movie for being as shitty as it was.
Yeah. You know what?
I fucking hate this film. If you don't, Norm, you're going to review it, right, on the site?
Yeah.
Filmthread.com.
Yep.
If you give it more than a zero, this means tank on fucking Rotten Tomatoes.
No, this is definitely one of the worst films I've seen this year.
The good thing is I don't get that angry. Oh my god. Anyways, that was
Truth or Dare.
Yeah, that was Truth or Dare. I think some people we did show that thing before. Yeah. We've shown that before. But let's get to Alan. Let's get to Alan. So here's a promise that we made you all. And we'll show this again. It's a short video. It's like a minute. So, and I need to give a little context to this. So, here's what it is. So we promised people that once we crossed the line of 40,000 subscribers on YouTube, that we would unleash a special video. And we're going to do this every time that we like cross another 10,000, we're going to prepare a special video for you. So, this video is, I made this a while ago. Alan and I were like working together. And what I would do is I follow Alan on Instagram, his personal Instagram, what is your personal Instagram, Alan?
Film Thread Alan.
So if you look up Film Thread Alan on Instagram, you can check it out. And Alan, I noticed in his Instagram, he always makes the same face. He'll be at some event and he'll be like, and he just makes this, Alan, can you do the face?
Something like that. Mm-hmm.
So Alan makes this face, and if you look at his feed on Instagram, it's just the same face every time, but at a different thing. And I was just like, so what we did was we started doing this thing like behind Alan's back. We did like a little thing that we like sort of cut out his face, and then we put his picture over a bunch of other things that were ridiculous circumstances. Like if Alan was at those places, this is the face he would make. So I made this little video, and yeah, this video has been teased forever. Play it. Let me just play the video. And I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna like it. And I have to where is it? Wait, I have to change. Where did it go? I had it all queued up. Oh, I have to go to here. I got to change. I got to switch it up. Let's switch it up to here. Here we go. Yes, look, you're counting on, there has to be a technical error. It wouldn't be an episode of the show.
Did you upload it or?
I did upload it. Where is it? I found it. Okay. It's short. Let's just watch it. Now it may not have been worth all that build up.
I know. That was it. That was your build up.
Actually, you know what's so funny? I made another one that's longer. We'll show that on Friday.
It had one of my daughter's favorite.
All I can say is this: okay, so this is like me and a couple other people who work at Film Threat, Bobby and Walter. We just kept making them. We're just making them like, let's just make these memes with Alan's face, and they progressively got worse and worse and worse. And I think, you know what? I'll just here, I'll upload. Well, no, I don't know if I can upload it. right now. I'll show the other. I made another one that's longer and incredibly offensive.
Oh wow.
Like really offensive, and we'll show that one on Friday. But
Like
there you go,
racist
folks.
or,
That's thank you for 40,000.
Yes, thank you. That was a big milestone, and 50 is now around the corner.
Yeah, and Patrick Lemire says, was that Batcave on Sunset? Yeah, there it was, Batcave on Sunset. And RMFX, I'm unsubscribing. No, don't go anywhere, RMFX. Such disapproval, says Goober. Holy Hand Grenades, it was hilarious, but was built up as something more haha. Yeah, you're right. Okay,
that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Although, I have been thinking about the beard, about bringing it back.
Well, there you go. Chris, you're such a nutcase. Yeah, well, what can you say? And then Evolution of Gaming, great nooner with Nerdrotic today. Grats on finishing the 40K. Well, just kidding, says RMFX. Great. Regrow Alan's beard is now trending in the chat. So that's awesome.
This has been an actual discussion in my household.
50K is so close. All right, we have to top that one for our next video.
Yeah.
We're going to top for 50K, I promise you. We're going to have something much better than what we just had. And Holy Hand Grenades, bring back the beard. What's the debate, Alan, and why are you so standoffish?
You know, it does ultimately come down to my wife and my child, and I think they're starting to get on board with it. So it may come back.
Mirror Universe Alan approved.
Yeah,
there you go.
I actually liked how that beard came in. It's the first time I was actually able to get a full beard.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we got 120 people watching right now. That is awesome. Please smash that like button. Let's talk about the other film that we have to discuss today. I gotta switch some things up. Let's get right here to. We're going to talk about Pleasure.
Oh yes.
We're going to talk about the movie Pleasure. So let me get my. There you go. That's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Pleasure. Well, let's talk about this. Pleasure opens this Friday. It is from Neon. Neon is one of the smaller indie. Neon, I would describe as kind of like an A24, right? In terms of when you see the movies that Neon puts out, they put out some, like I don't know if you saw Titan. Did you see that? Did anyone see that?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to talk about Titan for a minute.
And they did Apollo 11. I mean, they do everything: documentaries, horror, drama. I remember they did Apollo 11. They did Biggest Little Farm. Titan is another crazy one. I think they did one of the pig documentaries. What do you want me to talk about?
Well, just talk about that movie for a bit. Like, what were your thoughts about Titan? Because some people were very disturbed.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. It's the appeal to me for Titan was the story. It just goes in this really bizarre direction. It's about a girl who is severely injured. She has a titanium plate put in her head, and she becomes essentially a psychopath. And she exacts revenge on some very horrible people. And then while she's on the run, she sort of, and she's a full-grown adult at this point, becomes adopted by this fireman, and then they start this really odd relationship. But because not only does she get adopted by the fireman, but she poses as a man, and so he thinks basically he's raising a son. And like I said, this story just gets weirder and weirder and weirder, and to me that was the appeal, because you just have no idea where it's going. And these twists and turns just get crazier and crazier.
Well,
did you see it? Or
I know everything about it. I know everything about it. I know it. That's all I'll say. But Neon is a distributor that puts out movies that are very challenging and risky. Let's just say that's probably the best way to describe it. And this movie Pleasure, let's launch right in. I would describe this as, put simply, it's kind of the female Boogie Nights. Does that make sense? It's set present day about a girl who comes from Sweden and she wants to be a famous porn star. That is her goal in life. is to be a famous porn star. So, wait.
Yeah, okay, that was good. Okay.
So she wants to be a famous porn star. She's from Sweden, and she is sort of figuring out how to get involved in the industry. And it's very shocking from the very beginning. Like, there is a shocking shot whereas Boogie Nights kind of almost didn't. And I want to say, like, this movie, it's they don't show sex, right? They don't show like graphic, right? But it is dances right up to that line. There are some, graphic stuff in the very beginning where you see she's fully naked, taking a shower and cleaning herself. You see her go to an adult film set and she's being questioned about what her, boundaries are and whatnot, and things she'll do and not do. It goes through many of the mundane things of being involved in the present day adult film industry. There's a lot of paperwork to fill out. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of like showing what it's like to be on a film set. And the woman who directed it, I think her name is like Ninja Thurnberg. Is it Thurnberg? Yeah. Her first name is Ninja, and it's pronounced Ninja. That's her name. So she worked on this movie for like a decade. It was she did a short film and then sort of developed this into a feature. It played Sundance a couple years ago, now getting a theatrical release. It's really shocking, and it's about the present day adult film industry. And there's nudity of all types. You see men, women. There are real adult film actors that appear in the film, not as themselves necessarily, but like just as, they're people in the industry. What surprised me most about the film was that the acting is really good. The woman who plays the lead, she's really amazing in this part. Apparently, the director looked for someone, because this is not like something where it's just like, hey, can you be in this movie? Yeah, it's about an adult film actress. You can't just go and do that. That's not like a simple thing that you can go and do. So she searched everywhere to find someone who would be capable of doing this. And it's about, and what I do like about the film that it does, it sort of shows this world without judgment, right? It shows the difficulties of being involved in the present day adult film world, how there's a lot of stuff that's kind of boring about it. Like, like lighting and this and whatever. And there is sex. People have sex in the movie. In terms of actually having sex, I'm fairly certain.
It's not hardcore.
It's not hardcore. Yeah. Just to be clear, this is not hardcore sex. You don't see that, but everything but showing that, meaning characters are having sex, but one can assume that they're not actually doing that. Yeah. I was this movie I found kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
I found it very disturbing. And part of it is this movie does something that's like a real cliche in a lot of indie movies that I find a little overused. And that is using music in a way that contrasts events you're seeing. So for example, I think Quentin Tarantino did it in, he did it in Reservoir Dogs. It's a scene that's like, hey, you're playing like a happy song, but someone's being tortured and having their ear cut off, right? It's that kind of thing. So there's this opera music that plays throughout the film that's like very glorious and beautiful and whatever. And then what you're seeing is just disgusting, right? So, and I'm not a prude, right? Like, I'm not a prude when it comes to porn. People know I wrote for Hustler magazine back in the 90s. I was a comedy writer. I wrote jokes for Hustler. That was fun. It was a fun job. It's like almost my first professional job. That's how I sold Film Threat to Larry Flint. There's a story one day to be told in a documentary coming out a year from now or so. But this film I found very disturbing. I have a lot more to say, but I want to hear what your thoughts are, Alan, because you saw, before I did, when Sundance was virtual. I was actually at a screening last night with the director and the cast in attendance. And I don't know if we want to show clips at all because I shot a little bit of the Q&A. I'll leave it up to the chat and I'll let them vote if they want to see clips from the Q&A or not. I can show it. I shot like 4 clips. I feel like sometimes this is one of those things where I feel like the Q&A kind of ruined it for me. So because I feel like there's a weird, you know what? Let me talk about it after. I want to hear what your thoughts are, and then I have something to say about these types of art films that take a look at the porn industry. But what were your thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, you know, I would not liken it to Boogie Nights in the sense that you know, it's not a commentary about, as much as it's a commentary about the porn industry. I'll say it. Let me just say it this way: it's neither pro porn or anti porn.
Exactly.
It's just taking a woman and her experience, and I think, you know, when it played at Sundance, I did watch the Q&A afterwards, and the director, she was very adamant about portraying the story as real as it can, and without commentary in terms of right and wrong of porn, but to kind of just show what the porn industry is. And you know, it's one of these weird industries where, you know, it's I think people have a glamorized view of it until they get into it, and then they realize that this is not something they want to do necessarily for the rest of their lives. And you really get that sense in this movie. The director really worked hard to be accurate, as accurate as possible. And I think she doesn't show a lot of the warts of it, but I think she does show the emotional impact of people who are in this industry and what it kind of does to them over time. I mean, because the lead actress, the character is very enthusiastic about wanting to be in porn. There's one disturbing scene that is just still in my mind today about this movie, and I think that really says what this movie is about. And you know, again, what I like about indie films, especially from Neon here, it's a story that, you know, I can't believe it was told at all, and told this way, and that's what I appreciate about this movie.
Well, I'm in two minds about it. It's interesting to see a take, and it's a view of the modern adult film industry, which is very different than Boogie Nights. Yeah. I only compare it to Boogie Nights because it's the story of, you know, Mark Wahlberg's character, you know, sort of his rise to stardom, and that's pretty much, you know, the only point of comparison, right? And also Boogie Nights, I would say, is funny, and it doesn't focus that much on the porn scenes. This really is focused on the porn scenes, like a lot. So the problem I have with it is that Sundance and a lot of film festivals have an obsession with porn. And by that, I mean, this is one of many either documentaries or films about the adult film world, but it's from an artsy standpoint, right? Like, it's like, hey, we're gonna like take this sort of indie film view of the adult film world, but at the same time, there's salaciousness behind it, right? Like it's like, I can't tell you how many, and there are a lot of them, that like documentaries that have played both at Slam Dance, at Sundance. Sundance showed a documentary once about this 300-man gangbang, and tried to pass it off as like this very thoughtful feminist documentary, even though it was made by a guy who, you know, he said his main influence was Jerry Springer. So I kind of feel like there's this weird thing in the indie film world where they kind of want to like, yeah, let's look at this documentary about the porn business. But it's like, then there's this like, yeah, it's an excuse to see, you know, nudity and adult content, but in the context of we're studying it and it's societal. It's just like, no, you're spending a lot of time with adult stuff.
Yeah. So I think this is a little bit different, or what I appreciate about it is the fact that I think porn stars, when they watch this movie, it will feel familiar to them. It doesn't feel like they made things up. But at the same time, it is definitely not pro porn in that way.
No, it's not pro. It doesn't really take a stand pro or negative.
Yeah. But it doesn't shed it in a good light, saying, hey, this is the industry you may want to consider, you know.
Well, I think it shows it in a realistic light.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I know people who have been in that world. I'm friends with Annie Cruz. Do you know who Annie Cruz is?
No,
Amy Cruz, look her up. She's famous for something she did on Howard Stern that I can't actually
describe.
talk about. But Annie Cruz, I met at San Diego Comic-Con and LA Comic-Con. And Annie, I've known for years. She's a huge nerd. She's a cosplayer. And that's where I know her from. And she's just, she's a good person. So there you go. Annie Cruz. Follow her on Instagram. I want to go to some of your chat questions before, and if you are interested in seeing the clips from the Q&A last night, I could share a couple of those with you. I don't know if you want to see it. I'm going to leave it up to the chat. Let's go to the things that are starred here. Alan, thank you for that. Son of the Red Fox says it's not in Nymphomaniac art house crazy film though, right? Yeah, it's not Nymphomaniac. No, this is I would say more. Yeah. Toxic Waltz and Showtime Late Night was my first, had HBO too. Emmanuel early 90s series was my fave. Yeah. Here's sort of the dark secret about HBO. The thing that built HBO was adult stuff. There was that show called, do people remember this show? Excuse me. Should I just burp on the thing, or
you would be the first?
I try to mute myself when I burp, and now I'm thinking like maybe that's a bad thing. Anyways, there's a show called Real Sex.
Oh yeah.
And this Real Sex show built HBO. Sheila Nevins, who was the executive in charge of reality programming at HBO, and I met her at the Sundance Producers Conference. I was working on a movie at the time. I had a project I was working on. I got invited to the Sundance Producers Conference, was very happy to be there. It was great. And got to meet and have a conversation with her. And she just flat out, she doesn't care. Like a lot of people, when you see them, when you see people from the entertainment industry speak publicly, they're almost always bullshitting and lying. I mean, I'm just telling you straight up. When you see these junket interviews and you see there's Sam Raimi and there's whatever, it's all sweetness and light, whatever. It's all fucking bullshit because they're selling a movie. That is the purpose of those things. And that's okay. That's fine. Know that going in. Having said that, when people get behind closed doors, they'll just tell you the truth about the industry. They'll know bullshit. And Sheila Evans was I pitched a movie that I really wanted to make. And then someone made a movie that was similar. And I was like, fuck, I can't make that movie. Or maybe I'll make it a different take on that, because I don't think that movie turned out very well. But Sheila Evans was there and she said, look, what is it? Is it adult or whatever? She flat out admitted that all the stuff like Real Sex or G-String Divas, those are wildly popular on HBO. This is before HBO became HBO Max. Those adult content late night on HBO, huge amount of views for that. Real Sex and G-String Divas, which helped her finance, say, a Spike Lee documentary about New Orleans. So her whole thing was is it social issue or is it sex? And she didn't care. One makes money, the other one doesn't. And she was no BS about that. And I really respect Sheila Evans for that. And she helped build HBO to what it is today. Spidey Sensei 72 says the Annabelle Chong movie. Absolutely. That was the movie. It was at Sundance. I remember I got in a near argument with the publicist about it. And it was to me, it felt like a movie where someone went to college, took a couple classes on feminism, and then tried to weave that into a story where it was an excuse to talk about a 300-man gangbang. It's the Annabelle Chong movie, and what's the name of it now? Alan, can you look it up?
The wrong person.
Can you look it up? Can you look it up and put it in your Google history, Alan?
Yeah.
Annabelle Chong movie, Sundance.
I'm almost afraid to. I was afraid to Google this.
Script Doctor says, I remember a show called The Real Girlfriend Experience that tried to be artsy. It did not work. Yeah, but it's also this salacious view, but it's safe because I'm not watching porn. I'm watching Boogie Nights. I'm watching the Annabelle Chong documentary. I'm watching, there's a bunch of others that I could name of documentaries about the world of adult content, or Real Sex, right? Which talked about a lot of different things. Shelby AC says, I just finished Star 80 and reading about the Dorothy Stratton story, which is just so sad. I need some distance before seeing something like Pleasure. I agree. Pleasure opens this weekend in theaters. It opens
It's
Friday.
not as disturbing as Star 80. Definitely.
Yeah, this doesn't have like a dark end in terms of. I mean, there are dark things that happen, but
it's handled in such an interesting way, which
it's handled in its. I would even say it's almost a hybrid documentary / narrative film, because the director freely admits that she was kind of finding the story, and the ending of the film, which I won't spoil, she kind of just like they came up with it like on the set, like that's how the movie should end. They had a different ending planned, and then they went with the ending that is in the film, which I actually think works for the movie. So there you go. Bethel Games says, Alan, no woman can be in prawn for the rest of her life, because at a certain point, this is just desecration of mummies. I have 2 words for you. Nina Hartley. All right, let's move on. Holy Hand Grenades says, no penetration shots, 2 thumbs down. Patrick Lemire, Boogie Nights was oddly about a make-do family structure. That was part of it. And you get glimpses of that in this. Eric K. Thank you, Eric K., for dropping by. Smash that like and show your love. Appreciate that. Bethel Game says, no DP, no view. Well, can I just tell you something? There is a scene that has what you're looking for. What's really bizarre about it is how technical the scene is.
Yeah.
And Alan, why don't you discuss it?
Well, I'm not gonna. I mean, you have to. Okay, I'll just say this. There is this moment that was very disturbing to me. It's. I would imagine this is how it would have been handled on an actual porn set if it actually happened.
Right.
And I think you get that a lot in this movie. That it's like when you've talked about working at Hustler. You talked about like some of the protocols and stuff that happened that you wouldn't expect Larry Flint to have installed. There's a lot of that in this movie.
Yeah, it's what's interesting that I found, having been a comedy writer for Hustler and directed photo shoots, I'll just say that it's very technical and it's oddly very professional. Then when I worked for other companies that make other kinds of entertainment, you hear the things people say, and I'm like, oh man, that never would have flown on the set of a Hustler production. Melodic Method, good to see you back. Is this more of a commentary on what society demands / will tolerate, and how we are losing our anchor on this kind of thing? I won't say that. I'll say this: the one thing, the movie's not preachy.
No, not at all. Yeah,
it's not preachy. It's just presents, and this is how all movies should be, in my opinion. Because I get offended if something's like sort of preachy stuff, and it's like very, very preachy and in your face. This movie doesn't do that. It allows you to think for yourself and come to your own conclusions. Matt W., an artsy porn film. It's not a porn film, but it's definitely an independent film. It's artful, and it is about the world of adult, the creation of adult entertainment. Bethel Games, more disturbing than car sex? I don't know, Alan, you tell me.
Oh, I think they're talking about Titan.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty creepy. I mean, that's just where the movie got weirder and weirder. And it began with the car sex.
There you go. Script Doctor, wait, from your description, is Pleasure the movie that A24 had but dropped? I don't know about that. It's possible. I mean, distributors change. This movie did come out, or came to festivals in 2020, right?
Yeah, it was not this year Sundance, but
2021. Yeah. So it played Sundance 2021. It may have, because distributors do that, right? I mean, it just happened.
It feels neon, though. It feels very neon.
Yeah. Toxic Waltz N8. My porn name would be Woody Spruce. First pet name, street you grew up on. Fourth 1000. Well, Greta, how dare you?
Oh no, there's a
Boogie Nights.
That's
Toxic Waltz N8. Boogie Nights was based on me. Tell us more. And then Alan, this is good. Josh Levesque says, "What's that below your face, Alan?" Wait,
I know you need to get rid of this.
Reach your hand down.
Yeah.
I'm totally leaving that up there.
We're gonna get kicked off of YouTube.
You think so? Like, yeah, what would get us kicked off YouTube? Would this? I mean, we're talking about this film. Neon has its own. No,
I think it's this background photo here.
no, that's actually the thumbnail from Neon for the trailer. That's seriously. Okay, so like, look, Neon also has its own YouTube channel. The trailer for this movie's on YouTube with that thumbnail. We're just using the thumbnail graphic as our background. I'll fight YouTube on that. And
By the way, did you like
yes.
the movie, or I don't think you?
I'm mixed. I'm mixed. I found it very disturbing, and I feel like it is the thing that I found a little condescending about it is it's like we're going to take a very serious look at this. Well, at the same, it's sort of like you're making a movie that sort of examines exploitation while showing exploitation. There is a lot of nudity and sex in this movie, not graphic sex, but there are. We've seen penises in movies before, you know. I'm trying to think of Bad Lieutenant. Okay, has some penis in it. In this, the penises are ready to go,
fluffed and
that's not something we're used to seeing in. I don't think we're used to seeing those in a film that is not an adult film. Melodic Method impregnated by an automobile. Titan is creepy, says Akanika. Hey, good to see you here. Titan is difficult to explain in a few sentences. Do we have? Are you? You're. Let's see. Wait, Derek Douglas had a comment here. Did I miss it? Alan got a Tokyo Yakuza thing going on there. There you go. And RMFX says Larry Flint was a gentleman. He was, here's what's weird. He was incredibly professional. There was a dress code. You were, told the riot act about, like, you were just sort of like sit down and told, like, this is how you're going to treat women. This is in like 1990 for me, right? Like, this is, this is before maybe, and a lot of this, I believe, came from lawsuits. So I'm sure that the company learned their lesson. It's like, we have to have a professional environment. We produce adult content. We have to do it professionally. And then like the regular Hollywood world is a bunch of douchebags. So let's go to some more comments here. Melodic Method, leg positioning on those intimate shots needs to be choreographed.
Yeah, talk to Frank Langella about that one.
Yes, and Ryan Landis says Chris wore a smoking jacket and hair gel while working at Hustler. Probably. That's probably true. I'll bet there's pictures. Gabriel, Alan, you need to disassociate yourself from this man. There you go. Flaccid Phoenix, my mom, I swear it's not porn. It's just a documentary. See, that's the thing. Like, I sort of like am looking and it's just like, so the people who are making movies like this are saying like, okay, I'm making a real movie. At the same time, they're using the world as the backdrop, which is the reason you want to see the movie, right? So it's like you're absolving yourself of being, say, called out as a pervert because this is an art film or it's a documentary. But the subject matter is it's about porn or in the world of porn. So I have an issue with that because you're using that exploitation to make this art film.
Did you get that sense from the Q&A after the movie? From the
no,
director?
I thought. I mean, like it
did
felt.
You believe her intentions? I guess.
I thought the audience was annoying, but like that's just me because it's like I thought the audience was just way a little. Although one guy had this really cool jacket, I'd love to post a picture of it, but I can't because it has like a graphic naked photo of a woman on the back of his jacket, and it was very graphic. I'm like, how'd you get that jacket, dude? Toxic Waltz N8. I want to doc about HBO adult content that they're embarrassed about. It's very difficult to find any of it online. Akanika, that's why Game of Thrones had nudity and sex in the beginning. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Patrick Lemire, everyone I know that has done sex work coming from a fierce feminist empowered perspective still ended up very, very damaged. All right. And experts agree. I remember real sex. I also remember the show. Hey, I saw what you did. Gabriel Allen had to think a little bit there.
Yeah. Well, because that was when you asked me, do I know any crews? And
yeah. Like, Bethel Games was like, nudity and sexual tension is good, prawn is bad. The problem is where is the border between the both. So, but between both, yeah. The whole Son of the Red Fox says the whole art house label has just been given license to make porn without calling it porn. See, that's my argument. Is it's kind of porn without being called porn. Does that make sense? And oh my God, I remember this. DJ Weedman.
Yeah.
Louis Malle made a film called Pretty Baby, starring Brooke Shields in her first film role. It was about New Orleans whorehouses in the early 1900s. And wasn't she underage at the time?
Yes, she was. Yeah, the actress and the character.
The actress and the character. Yeah. So
Susan Sarandon was in that one, wasn't she?
Yes. Yeah. Quick question. Did you see Foreman's The People versus Larry Flint? Was the portrayal story accurate? Shelby AC? I could do a whole stream on that. I worked there. I knew the screenwriters, Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski. I was doing Film Threat. Film Threat, the print magazine in the 90s. Look it up. If you can find issues, grab them. Because I don't even have all the issues of Film Threat. But so I'm working there and I meet Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski. They're working on the movie called Ed Wood, starring Johnny Depp. As a favor to me, they interviewed Johnny Depp for Film Threat because the publicists were assholes. We're going to do a whole thing once where I want to do a Publicists Exposed and talk about the nightmare of dealing with publicists and how Film Threat kind of does a workaround. But in any case, Scott and Larry loved Film Threat magazine and were working with Tim Burton on Ed Wood. They interviewed Johnny Depp. They interviewed Tim Burton. They helped me with this whole cover story. And then they said to me, like, hey, we're trying to get a movie going, a biopic of Larry Flint. And I said, well, I work here. I don't know. This is weird. I became the go-between between Scott and Larry, the screenwriters, and Milos Forman, who was directing it. And originally it was going to star Bill Murray. And I became like this go-between. Like, I feel, please don't get too annoyed with me. I'm like a character that pops up in the history of indie film is like, oh, I was involved in that. I did that. I'm not trying to drop names or tell you I'm cool. You've watched this enough to know I'm not cool. I'm just a guy that's like brutally honest about shit. And I'm telling you the story. So the story is they were working on the movie and they were going to do this without Larry Flint's approval. And I met with Larry and the guy who ran the place, Jim Coles, and basically connected them and said, you got to talk. These guys just made this movie, Ed Wood. I think he's perfect to do it. And I even smuggled out an entire run of all the issues of Hustler, which I gave to Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski, and they were never returned to me. It was my personal connection. Any penis in Attack of the Dock? Asks Flaccid Phoenix. Not yet. There's still time. Script Doctor, Dewey Cox story has male nudity.
Oh, yes.
There you go. I think I answered Larry Flint was a gentleman. He was a professional. Publicists Exposed would be great. Yeah, Melodic Method. I would love to just talk about like sort of like how we deal with publicists, and we kind of set up like these screens to kind of just like keep them from us because it's annoying dealing with publicists, and you deal with them probably less than I do, but I try to protect you, Alan. What are your thoughts on that?
Publicists, I think you are protecting me because, I don't deal with them as to the depth that you do, but yeah,
right.
I've dealt with some annoying ones.
Well, I basically tell them to kind of leave us alone, and we have a method, and just send us your movie, and if we are interested, we'll review it. And then also, if you do not have a publicist and you are a filmmaker, send us your movie.
Yes,
I'll review it. You don't need a publicist. This is this thing. These there are all these barriers in the entertainment industry to doing things, and one of those barriers are publicists and like the media and just like a lot of media outlets. I would say 99.9% of media outlets, if you're an indie filmmaker who doesn't have a publicist, you try to pitch your movie to an outlet, good luck getting covered. But at Film Threat, that's kind of how we discover filmmakers. I mean, back in the day, Richard Linklater sent me a VHS cassette of his movie Slacker, which was a rough cut. It was like 30 minutes longer than what ended up being released by, I believe Sony released that movie. This was in 91, I want to say. It was just Richard Linklater, handwritten note, sent to Film Threat, check out my movie, Slacker. I love that movie. Whenever anyone asks me my favorite independent film, that is my response. Richard Linklater's Slacker. Slacker, singular. Brilliant film about Austin, Texas. And I love that movie. DJ Weedman, although it showed child prostitution, it tried not to take a side in the depiction. It seemed to be saying the viewer should decide what was good and bad.
It's about Pretty Baby. Yeah.
That's Pretty Baby. Yeah, yeah. And I can't believe I said those words. Demonetized. That's what this is. This stream is. Well, we're already demonetized, so it really doesn't matter. But yeah. So let's go to the. I feel like I'm missing some of these.
Well,
things.
I wanted to ask you about, did you get the sense of the director's intentions in the movie at the
She
Q&A?
came at it from she used a lot of keywords in the Q&A, like patriarchy and feminism and all this.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, okay. But she did a good job she did a really good job of sort of taking a fly on the wall approach, like a documentary would. Certain types of documentaries take kind of a fly on the wall, and I like that. So there you go. And Spidey Sensei 72, a Nina Hartley biopic. The world needs it, Chris. Spidey Sensei, I would love that. Why don't you make that movie? It's not hard to do. Look, I got 2 docs I'm working on. There you go. Fletcher Williams, hey, good to see you here. Protect Alan at all costs. Script Doctor, when I was single during the height of Game of Thrones, every party I went to where Emilia Clarke was present, her publicist would keep me away from her, even though her mom, Jennifer, loved me. Well, there you go. Jack the Ripper, I love Slacker. Oh, yeah, there you go. Tracy Lords could be another one. Yeah, like Tracy Lords. Here's the thing. I know Tracy Lords. I have known her for years. She was on the cover of an issue of Film Threat magazine. I also worked on a television show with her called Ultimate Film Fanatic, which was a game show on IFC when IFC used to mean Independent Film Channel. Now it's just, I don't know what it is now. It's not indie film.
But it's still IFC.
It's still called IFC. But yeah, I know Tracy Lords. We follow each other on social media. She is a sweetheart. Let's have Tracy Lords be on the podcast and do a live stream with us. Wait, let me see if I can find this. I have an issue. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here's the issue of Tracy. If you can find this has got to be worth some money. I'll take it out of the plastic because why not? Here's the issue of Film Threat we did with Tracy Lords. There you go. And Tracy signed it. We did a whole expose on how to get a star on the Walk of Fame. Basically, at the time, it was, I believe, 5,000 signatures and 10 grand. And that's how you get a star on the Walk of Fame. And so we tried to get Tracy Lords a star on the Walk of Fame, and it didn't happen. But what can you say?
Here, I got, there it is.
There you go. Nice. Yeah. So, Tracy Lords, amazing person. Chicago Box, just do the link tree thing in Film Threat. All the links you need. Thank you for that, Chicago Box. Here we go. Are the pages sticking together? No. They're in plastic. Holy hand grenades. Lol, Chris found that way too quickly. Like if he knows it's the exact location due to frequently picking it up. No, it's just because I think
it's just a cover photo.
I showed it the other week, and so it was just sitting right there. There you go. B-roll says, I remember that issue totally. I remember when it was 20K for a Walk of Fame star. Now it's closer to 60K. Crazy. This was in the early 90s. It was 10,000. And we just sort of showed like, here's the process. I mean, one of my whole things with Film Threat is to kind of just like expose the bullshit. I mean, this was like in the 80s and 90s we were doing this. And now I'm just, people think I just sort of dropped on the scene. I've been doing this for a while, so it explains the hair. So there you go.
By the way, that issue of Film Threat, you include a preview of Sam Raimi's Army of Darkness, and you're on the set of Cronenberg's Naked Lunch.
I was on the. That's funny. I was on the set during Army of Darkness, which was the weirdest thing. The set was like, it looks cool. Like when you film it, it looks cool. And there's a graveyard. I went up to the graveyard, and all of the tombstones are like styrofoam. They photographed well, but they were freaking styrofoam. Gwen Stacy says, some call me a cinephile, but I've been called worse. Gwen Stacy, I feel you. I have definitely. So he really knows Tracy. I do not. I mean, she is happily married. She's made music. She's directed films. Yeah, we'll get Tracy on here at some point. So, and Bethel Games, Army of Darkness talk, please. I don't know. I don't want to like go down a rabbit hole. Like I've known Sam Raimi like since in Michigan in the 80s when he had this like small company called Renaissance Pictures. I knew because he was just like, well, he's older than me. And, you know, this successful company doing Evil Dead 2. He had like, you know, in Ferndale, I was in Royal Oak. He was in Ferndale, had these offices. He lent me a Canon Scoopix 16mm camera when I was in college to make a movie. And there you go. So yeah, we will get to some of your other, the chat questions that Alan is starring. Thank you for that, Alan. I have one question here for you. Would you like to see video from the Q&A from Pleasure last night? I'm going to wait because I'm tossing this out to the chat. It's a yes or a no. I shot like 4 clips. It's probably combined like 5 or 6 minutes. I can just show you clips of it. And if you hate it after the first clip, I'll stop. But our review of Pleasure, we should sort of wrap up our review while people are telling us whether or not they want to see those clips. Alan, do you recommend Pleasure?
I do. I just found the story fascinating. It's very untraditional, but you know, it's a qualified recommendation as well. I wouldn't tell my Christian friends to go see it.
Yeah, I would recommend. I would sort of a mild. I would give like a soft recommend. Feel free to make a joke about that. I'm softly recommending it, but with a warning that it is graphic, that it is uncomfortable, that there are scenes like, I mean, a lot of things people think they need trigger warnings. This movie 100% needs a trigger warning.
Absolutely.
I could see people walking out of this movie. At Sundance, it's different. You know, it's sort of presented the context in which it's presented. I could really see this movie, like people in theaters walking out and asking for money back. There are parts that are disturbing. So it's a soft recommend. And you need to kind of know, is this the kind of movie I want to see going into it? I don't think it's on. I think it's in theaters this weekend. It's not VOD.
Definitely.
And now, Alan, what's the vote looking like?
Actually, I don't think people are really commenting on wanting to see it. Fletcher says yes. Zaz says yes. Oh no, never mind. We got.
How many people are enough people saying yes? Is that what you want to see?
I think I've got at least 12 people. Yes.
All right. So let's show. I'm going to show the first clip, which has the lead actress of the film talking. I just try to catch like highlights. So look, I did not do a great job doing this. So here are highlights from the Q&A for Pleasure, which, you know, this is the post-screening. They do a question and answer session. The moderator, I thought she did a very good job. And then questions from the audience. So let's show a little bit of that to give you a taste, which will give me an opportunity to run to the restroom. So let's actually, I got to find the video file here and run this Q&A, and then we'll talk sort of post that. And here we go with the first clip.
What kind of practices and processes did you share to make sure that this felt like a safe and positive experience for you?
I mean, 1,000 different things. Prior to even getting the part, Ninja took me out to dinner to make sure that I knew what I was getting myself into. She was like, you are aware that there will be naked bodies and penises, erected penises around you? And I was like, yes, that's fine. I've seen them before. But on set, there was a lot of dialogue. Me and Ninja spoke quite early on what my boundaries were. Since I have body dysmorphic disorder, I don't view my body in the greatest way. So we spoke a lot about that and how that could and perhaps would affect me, but also I had a say in everyone who was in the cast, especially the ones that I had sex scenes with, 2 of them right here. So I only did sex scenes with, yeah, not real sex, not real sex. But so I only got to do the sex scenes with people that I actually felt comfortable and safe with, and I was very lucky to have a cast that helped me out quite a lot. For Maya and Evelyn's scene, Evelyn helped me out quite a lot because I was very uncomfortable wearing a dick and being violent. It's not my thing. Also, Chris was amazing. So I had a cast that helped me out a lot as of setting boundaries, but I also had an amazing director that made sure that none of my boundaries were crossed. I mean, I refused to do the vagina in the beginning. It's not mine.
It's mine.
Yeah, it's hers. Yeah, you didn't know?
No.
So we did a lot of that, and for the violence scene, we rehearsed that prior to months actually shooting it. And I mean, there's a lot of movie magic. When my face turns red and blue, it's not from actually being choked, it's from me like tensing my entire body, which turned my face red and blue. For that scene as well, we flew in one of my closest friends from Sweden, who sat with us during that scene, and also Ravika, who plays Joy, was also with us during that scene. And their only job was to look at me, and whenever if I would make eye contact with them, that would mean cut. So I didn't even have to use my voice or words to say, cut, this is too much, I don't want this. I just had to make eye contact with someone I trust. I mean, I trust Ninja with my life as well. So there was a lot of dialogue, and even after the scenes, me and Ninja would talk and go through what I had experienced, and if there was something that I wanted to talk about. I mean, I had an amazing crew, and it was, even though most of the responsibility fell on Ninja's shoulders, it was also like a collective responsibility, and I feel like everyone truly helped out to make sure that I felt safe and comfortable, and if I didn't, we changed things so I would feel safe and comfortable.
I mean, it's a testament to.
So, wait. Okay. So that was one of the pieces of Q&A where the lead actress talks about like how comfortable she was on the set. I can show you more from the Q&A, and someone was mentioning like take a shot every time someone mentions the patriarchy or feminism. Yeah, you'll the guy in the center, this actor, he plays a character named Bear in the movie, and he's sort of a mentor to her, kind of like he's a kind soul in the midst of a crazy industry, and his real name, or it's his name in the industry, is Chris Cock. So the guy you saw in the center at the Q&A, his name is Chris Cock. And it's so funny because the movie, the credits are coming on in the movie, they're kind of flashing names on, and the name comes up, Chris Cock. And it just like the audience laughed. It's an indie film. People are going to be pretentious. So Gwen Stacy says, seems pretentious, blah. It's, a lot of that is, and also like when you're in that situation, the movie's not as pretentious as the Q&A. Let's just say that. So the movie is, separate the movie from the, like, now they're kind of getting in the weeds of it, right? So we can show more clips if you want. I've got a couple more clips, and you can see, we don't have to show them all, but I feel like we
call the Q&A a woke discussion of porn.
That's what it is, kind of a woke discussion of porn, which I always laugh at that kind of stuff. I'm just like, because I would go to Sundance, and Alan, God, I really wish I knew you back, like when we were going to Sundance back in the day, like, because it would just be fun to, just
kind of mock the pretentious.
Yeah, no, just because like we would go to Sundance and like, okay, whatever. I mean, like people forget movies like The Blair Witch Project that premiered at Sundance. That movie showed there and sold there. Like it's like, so some really like cool stuff will come through Sundance. Then there's other stuff where you can tell the directors get like a big head and take themselves way too seriously. I think that like, yeah. And all I can say is a Chicago box, woke porn, oxymoron. Yeah. It's the one thing, actually, technically speaking, and I think we had a discussion about this a couple weeks ago. If there was woke porn, what would it be? What would woke? It's almost one of the few things that has not been infected by wokeness, right? I would say that the only way it has, and Chris Koch actually talked about this, and I didn't. It's so funny. I'm actually having this serious discussion. Well, this guy Chris Koch, he had great things to say. He is an adult performer, and he's also in the movie playing a character. But he had some really interesting things to say about the industry. And he was talking about how, like, when everything happened 2 years ago and people couldn't work, that what was interesting about it is like certain performers were told they couldn't work. And then they were like, F that, I'm just going to work. And that's how OnlyFans kind of rose, because they were like, F it, I need to make money. Mm-hmm. And people did that. And it was just like, hey, I'm not beholden to the company. I can be in control of my own destiny. And I actually really believe that that's like that's the best case you could ever be in, is to be in control of your own destiny, whether it's a small business, a YouTube channel, as an indie filmmaker, or as an adult performer.
Okay, so here we go. Foreplay in woke porn is a 20-minute discussion about consent.
Yeah, they talk about that. Script Doctor says, nope, there is woke porn. It's made in Canada. Wait, for real? Oh my God, Script Doctor, we have to have an offline discussion.
How does that? Yeah, how does that work? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, and people, okay. Do we want to show like another? We'll show one more clip, and I'll only continue if you would like me to, because we lost about 10 viewers there. We lost about 10 viewers. So Ryan Landis says lots of dyed armpit hair in woke porn. Yeah, wait, is that real? That would be. Oh my God, that would be hilarious. But we'll show one more clip, because we're losing viewers now. We're losing viewers. I want to continue our conversation, but I'll show one more clip, because why the hell not? Wait, no, that's not. Wait, I went away for a second. Okay, I'm going to share. I'm going to share video file. I had to convert this using Handbrake while we were. Do I want to show that one? I don't know. Or do I want to? All right, I'm just gonna show it. So here we go.
That's the funny thing. Everyone, I had so many, everyone's been like, it's really honest. But then everyone from this, been so upset. No one would do that for free, because she's doing a scene for free. And that's everyone is reacting to that. It's so funny. Because I would say that's the one. There's two things, I don't remember the other one, but there's two things that is completely fiction that I've never heard of and that I just made up, and that's one of them. And that's yeah.
Well, I'll step in and say they may have not done it for free, but they have definitely undercut prices to get that extra edge and their career to be known more for something.
And also, as Bella says, if it's for free,
it's for me.
So the girl, someone mentioned the girl in the black dress. It was Gwen Stacy. Girl in the black dress actually works in the adult film industry. So she was sort of peripherally an adult, and then she did this movie, and then after kind of made connections on the movie to be an adult. And someone else mentioned earlier on a chat question, I don't know if you started some of these, Alan. Someone mentioned a superhero porn. That's Axel Braun. And Axel Braun, first of all, I know who Axel Braun is. If you've ever seen adult film parodies, that guy is the best. He does Star Wars XXX. He did Batman XXX. I may have one or two of those. So Axel Braun is this guy that he faithfully does these porn. He did a Batman one that I find is disturbing, because it's a very accurate costumes to the 1966 Adam West, Burt Ward Batman, but they're in sexual situations. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need to I love both things, but not together. So it did not work for me. But Axel Braun, there's a character named Axel in the movie, and I don't know what Axel Braun looks like. So I think that Axel Braun's in the movie. He's just referred to as Axel. And I'm like, oh, Axel, is that Axel Braun's director? Is it the director, Axel Braun? Let me know. Okay, that's a terrible accent. What am I doing? I'm trying to do a pretentious director.
Isn't he a legit like writer, a TV writer?
Are you guys liking these clips or not? Should I do this? Should this?
I know
be
they're very
part of-
quiet. That's my only.
You're very quiet on the clips. Let's
Yeah.
go to the chat. Naked Lunch. Did they have good catering? People are just. You guys are just goofing around here. James Hong finally got a star this week. Long overdue.
He's 93.
Is he?
James Hong is 93.
Oh my god.
And you know he had a great performance in
Wado. Wait. Someone says Wado. Republic credits are no good around here. Need something more real. There you go. Yeah. So look, woke porn is watching a Lena Dunham movie. Oh my god.
Oh.
Now, if there's anyone that's insufferably pretentious, I would say that's Lena Dunham. I'm just gonna say that out loud.
Her movie at the last Sundance. Oh my god.
Yeah. That movie that was at the last Sundance really did not go over too well at all. Chicago Box, thank you for that, for all your film threat needs. We appreciate it. Woke porn would be persons of unknown genders asking for consent for 2 hours, followed by a 12-hour edging, says Spider Geronimo. So there you go. And Jack D. Ripper says, Chris, there you go, Gore. Heyo, David Garcia, Tim C. Hey, Tim Chismer, Lena Dunham. No. I'm just assuming that's how you want that said. And Tim Chisner is one of my favorite nude directors. And he did a very funny film called The Noodles of Nudeland, which is a indie comedy about a nudist resort that is Alan's favorite comedy of 20. It's an award this contender for sure.
For next year, I think. Yeah.
For next year, for sure. So you may have put me off porn, David Garcia, says Derek Douglas.
By the way, Lena Dunham's last movie does have kind of pornish tones to it, which makes it even worse. It is probably a woke porn. I'll say that.
Well, there you go. And Bethel Game says, Chris, do whatever you want. I code beside this live stream. All right, look, I want next person. Do we show the next clip or not? All right, we'll wrap up on like a final clip. We'll just show the clip and then we'll we'll show this clip and then we'll wrap things up. But I love chatting with you. I just first of all, you guys probably do the same thing I do. Like I put on a live stream while I'm working on stuff. So I'm answering email. I'm doing like inconsequential little stuff. And Mr. Joe Daniel says, Republic credits. That's Watto. Bring back Watto. Yeah. I'm surprised Watto has not shown up in like Boba Fett or The Mandalorian or Kenobi. We're going to see Kenobi in a couple weeks. Is anyone going to Star Wars Celebration? Anyone?
Yeah, I could not get in.
I may have an extra pass, Alan.
Okay. I'm not sure I'm excited, but
all right, I may have an extra pass. You should let's go down. They're saying you have to wear masks.
Really?
But you don't have to wear masks outside. You don't have to wear masks at the hotel bar. So
yeah, well, that's definitely not a Anaheim rule. It's got to be a Star Wars rule.
Oh my God, Tim C, let me pour you a glass of no. So there you go. All right, well, we'll talk about Star What Celebration later and Star Wars because it's always going to come up. Let's actually go back to. We'll share another video that wait. What am I? No, I'm not doing that. I almost know how to do this. Video. I know what I'm doing.
Oh,
here. Okay. All right. One more clip. I have two clips. We'll show one more here. Here we go. Wait, no, that's not the one. Wait, here we go.
Which one are you looking at?
I think this is just introducing the people. I don't know. This could be terrible. Let's just watch it. There we go.
It's really strange doing these talks after intense films. Thanks so much for being here. So excited to have one of the first Los Angeles screenings of this film. I think it's so important that women are turning a lens on this huge part of our culture, one that doesn't get explored or talked about, but that is part of our lives, whether we admit it or not. So, Nino, tell us a bit about why pornography in the beginning became kind of a subject of study and interest for you.
Yeah, I mean, it started when I was 16, and my first boyfriend, yeah, we were both virgins when we met, and then he showed me a porn film, and that was like
icebreaker.
So no, it wasn't that. Yeah, we were a little further on in the relationship, and then I was like, I had never seen porn before. I had this idea of being this, like, you know, soft Vaseline on the lens, pretty girls in lingerie, being very like elegant. I don't know where I had that idea from, but I, you know, and then it was like definitely not that. And also I just realized, like, all of his friends, they had these, like, it was still VHS cassettes, because this was like year 2000, and they exchanged them, and me and my girlfriends, like, we like, yeah, we read like these, like, women's magazine and like novels. Like, I had this like super romantic, super naive idea about sex, and like, we would never even admit to each other that we were masturbating. And I just realized, like, the differences of like what our expectations of sex, and like this, like, okay, this is what he expects of me, and like we had like these totally opposite expectations of each other. But there was also this thing, like, it made me, yeah, there was so many different emotions. Also, that the way that he was referring to the women, he was like, I knew that he was consuming the porn, and then at the same time he was like, yeah, they are like, so must be so broken for doing that, like really looking down on them in a way that I just got so, like, it was so degrading for me, because it was something that showed like this certain way of looking at women. And yeah, that just I became an anti-porn activist, and that was like I was very radical and black and white, but that was like also where the feminist movement was at that time in Sweden. And then I became like really engaged in the subject, but then that developed, and after a few years I learned more, and I became older, and I started to like see other nuances, and I started to feel like it was a problem to always like look at it from a victim perspective, and I felt that there was a lack of positive representation of female sexuality, and I became interested in feminist pornography, and it's been such a long journey. And then I started to question that as well, like, who's saying that this is feminist and this is not, and like so then I became interested in mainstream pornography and how you can do that differently. So it's been a very long journey.
So you sat through that whole thing.
Oh my, okay. Well, I just
my gosh,
recorded some highlights. All right, we're done with the clips. I promise you no more clips from the Q&A. But no, look, it's presented in a certain context, and that's where the conversation goes. It's very high-minded. It's very high-minded.
Yeah, I mean that just really comes across there.
Well, I don't think first of all, holy hand grenades. I think that's not going to happen. Even though woke porn exists, according to Script Doctor, in Canada, I don't think woke so that's not going to happen. Tim,
well, it'll be a joke. I mean, it can only be done in parody.
My favorite feminist film, Dread. Seriously, wait, really? What is that for real? All right, well, let us know. You need to explain yourself. Here we go. Gwen Stacy, quit your bitching, get back in the kitchen. Like, oh boy, we are in trouble here. Geez, Gore. Well, don't be a bore, Gore. No more clips. Okay, we're not doing any more clips. We're actually going to wrap things up because there you go. Like, first of all, not the Batman. Good to see you back. I love that we see people that like with coming to the live streams, that we see them returning. Maybe you're liking something. I hope you do. Not the Batman says no one watches porn long enough to get whatever message they're putting in. Yeah. I don't think they're putting in messages. They're putting in something else. Patrick Lemire says, I'm gored. Oh God.
Yeah,
all right.
I should mention that Pleasure is in New York and LA on Friday, and then expands the following week, and it is unrated. There's no rating.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Gabriel says, time to wash that down with some Star Wars talk. Tim C says, Dread is super feminist. Watch it again. It is and doesn't beat you over the head with it. You're talking about the one, the most recent one, right? Not the one with Rob Schneider. Okay, we'll talk.
The one with Carl
That
Urban.
could be a whole stream. All right, maybe you'll need to come on. We're looking at starting a couple more shows. And we have some people that are going to help us. There's some amazing people. Flaccid Phoenix, where are you? You're around. I'm so excited. We had a great chat today. Hang on. Melodic Method says, when are independent artists going to work filling in the gaping chasm that is dead Star Wars? To have what George Lucas did in making that first movie, you need to read a book called The Secret History of Star Wars. The first movie was like, even though like, okay, it was in development for like, in his head, it was development for probably almost a decade. And there were so many versions of the script. Like it like to get to that first Star Wars, it's a miracle that came out and then came out as well as it did, the first movie. And there you go. Tim T says, Carl Urban, yes, watch it. It is so is lead villain bosses, etc. And Gwen Stacy, the comment of the evening, we're all flaccid here, she said. I just assumed Gwen Stacy. I don't know. I don't know you. People have pseudonyms. And Flaccid Phoenix says, I'm lurking. It's good to see you lurking. You pop in and hang out. You don't have to be here the whole time. But we're going to wrap things up. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out with us on a Wednesday night for another Hollywood on the Rocks edition of the Film Threat Livecast. Alan is, if you look at it in just the right way, he's touching himself, or he's like a quado.
Yeah, we're going to get
quado to the... What?
This damn background image.
And there you go. Wait, where'd you upload the G4 clip?
Oh, it's there. You want me to? Is
it on Hollywood on the Rocks, or is it on?
It's under Hollywood on the Rocks.
Okay, upload. We'll show it on Friday. Let's show it Friday.
It's there,
and we'll show it on the Film Threat Livecast. But I want to say thank you to everybody for being here and hanging out with us. We are Film Threat on everything. Alan, where can people find you?
My pal Al on Twitter and then Film Threat Alan on Instagram.
Cool. And I am that Chris Gore on everything. I'm tweeting way more than I should lately. I'm going to go back to a couple times a week. I think I tweeted like once a day for almost a week, and
you just begging
someone needs to stop me. Someone needs to stop me. But one last thing I want to remind people: do you want to party with us? You want to party with Alan and I? Come to Santa Ana, California, to the Frida Cinema on Saturday, May 21st. We are doing a show called Award This. It is a show where we give awards to independent filmmakers. I'm talking about truly independent movies, small indie movies. Those filmmakers are going to be there in Santa Ana at the Frida Cinema. We're having a red carpet, a pre-party with cocktails. Would you like some drinks? Join us. The ticket price, a little pricey, but you get a gift bag, drinks. You get to hang out. There's a red carpet. It's going to be a blast. Look, you can't get a ticket to the Oscars. You cannot get a ticket to the Spirit Awards, but you can get a ticket to Award This. To go to awardthis.com, check it out, pick up tickets. It's the biggest night in indie film. And you can get more info. Just follow Award This or go to awardthis.com or the Frida Cinema website and check it out. Alan, you're going to be there.
Yes, I will be there. A week from Saturday.
A week from this Saturday, it's happening. And there are limited number of tickets available. So pick up tickets. And Alan, what's the thing that we like to say at the very end of the show?
Let's get out of here.
Move this,